I'm Abby.
I'm Allie.
We're the Rannick Twins, and this is Oops, I Arted, a part of the Hayden Collins Intelligence Syndicate. So, today, Allie, we're going to be talking about the strange life of Salvador Dali.
Oh, snap. Wow. Right out of left field, huh?
Yeah.
You told me like 4 different things a couple days ago when we were talking about...
Yeah, I was really kind of phoning it in at the last minute.
You threw around Mike Tyson, we talked about some tattoos, and... Here we are.
I looked up Emily Dickinson and this and that and a few others, and then I landed on this. So we could probably do a 2 or 3 part episode on Salvador Dali, but I wanted to go over mostly his childhood and how he was outside of his incredible genius painting self.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll touch more on something else about Salvador Dali some other time down the road.
Yeah, so he was a total egotistical maniac from an early age.
Okay.
So we're going to get started all the way
You're
back.
You're going to talk about his mustache, right?
In May.
May!
Of 1904.
1904.
So that was when he was born. He was born on May 11th, 1904. Covering my sources really quick. There's an article called Salvador Dali on surrealists.co.uk.
Wow, that's exactly where it should be.
And then there's another one, Salvador Dali, Art, Clocks, and Life on biography.com. And then 17 surreal but true stories about Salvador Dali on ranker.com. Hear me out. Ranker.com is probably not the best source, but it was an excellent jumping off point.
Yeah, that's usually what I use Ranker for too, like the HST episodes.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, is this real? And then I go and look it up.
You gotta fact check it all.
Yeah, so what do you know about Salvador Dali?
Well, first of all, let's talk about his mustache.
Yes.
The iconic going out and then flipping up at the ends.
You know, he actually picked that up from another artist called Diego Velázquez.
That name sounds familiar for some reason.
He's a famous painter.
But obviously he does surrealism paintings. He's known best for the melting clocks, which has been redone.
The persistence of memory.
Yes.
Or soft clocks is what it's called.
Redone ARTED about 1 million times in pop culture.
Yes.
So,
very notable. Probably one of the most easily recognizable paintings.
Yeah, and I remember when you did that really awesome paper mache of that elephant with tiny, tiny little stick legs.
I still have that. Yeah. People are really freaked out by that.
It's awesome.
So...
other than that, I don't know a whole lot about his life. Was he the guy that used to hold the spoon in the pan?
I couldn't find anything about that, but that's what we learned in elementary school when we learned about Salvador
Maybe it's just all
Dali.
hearsay. Like, that's just an old art teacher joke that they pass around.
Well, it was on that... What was that website called? With the robot... That
oh my god,
the cartoon. Yes. Brain Pop?
Brain Pop. Yeah,
okay.
I think that's what it's called.
Email us.
Bringing that up.
Email us if you know what the heck we're talking about. So, back to the beginning. He was born in Figueras, Spain. On May 11th of 1904. He was an only child. I don't remember. I couldn't find anything on how old he was when his little sister was born. But he was an only child until he wasn't.
Uh-oh.
And that caused a lot of issues for Salvador Dali because he was attention-seeking, would be the easiest way to describe it. So... he also had an older brother that passed... his name was also Salvador Dali. And he passed away before Salvador was born.
You got to live his legacy.
Gastrointestinitis or something like that.
That sounds painful.
And his parents totally convinced him that he was his brother's reincarnation.
What?
Yes.
Hold on. So when I was jokingly saying you must live on his legacy, they were like, for real?
Yeah, they were like, we named you after our first son. And you are now... our first son in another body. And he believed this. He said something like, we are 2 drops of the same water with different reflections. I didn't write that quote down. So he was really attention-seeking. He acted out much like kids do when they want attention. He was aggressive towards his family and friends. And that warranted strict discipline from his father. And this is the early 1900s, so he got beat.
Yeah, that's pretty much what that means. Strict discipline. Kid, we're going to put you in timeout for 10 minutes.
No.
Strict.
No. So he was so aggressive that he ended up getting sent to a family friend named Picho.
So by aggressive, do you mean like he was just kind of...
he was violent.
Like he was hitting and...
Yes, physically aggressive.
Oh, okay.
So...
Well, gee.
From an early age, he always wanted to cook. And he actually ended up releasing the Surrealist Cookbook when he was older. And it has some pretty interesting recipes in it. I'd check it out.
We're going to need to do a whole episode on cookbooks that artists have made, because a surprising amount of artists have cookbooks.
Yes, and there's actually a great video on the YouTube channel called Art Assignment where they make one of Salvador Dali's recipes.
Didn't you show that to me?
Yes.
Okay.
They do lots of artist cooking and stuff on there. So check that out. If you're interested, he wanted to be a cook, but he started painting at 6 years old, and that kind of changed his mind.
Yeah.
And,
wow. I mean, he already had his mind made up at 6, though.
I know.
I'm 21. I don't know what I'm doing.
So he moved in with an artist named Picho, who was a family friend, and he was a painter. And so obviously a lot of Salvador Dali's early influences were Picho's paintings. He was described as a sadist at an early age. Pleasure and pain were attached. They were in the same vein for him.
Listen. Kids that undergo abuse are more likely to be sadists.
Yes.
The pain, it's because your parents love you, right?
Yeah. But they beat you.
Yeah. So it really changes some schemas when you're growing up, those fundamental years.
Yeah, so at Picho's, he was also kind of perverted.
How old is he at this point?
I couldn't find a good age, so it's hard for me to, like, determine whether or not... I mean, if you're, like, 12, then, like, you know, you kind of start...
Puberty.
Seeing things and hearing things that start to kind of make sense. But he was fascinated with a young blossom picker, which, like, wouldn't that be a job? Blossom picking? I just pick
flowers. What's your job?
All day.
I pick flowers, and I put them in a little wicker basket. I prance around.
Probably a lot of sunburn. He used... I love the way that this is described. 2 large melons propped up on crutches to stimulate his imagination.
Well, now hold on just a second. So this kid,
yeah,
he's like in his room.
Yeah, yep.
He's got 2 crutches.
Yep.
Like probably leaned up against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how you do that.
Yep.
He did it. 2 melons.
Yeah, and it's to stimulate her chest.
Wow, really? I thought the melons was something else.
The large melons. So he did that. He also pushed one of his friends off of a 15-foot bridge into rocks.
So what you're telling me is Salvador Dali was
a sociopath.
On his way to becoming a serial killer, but instead he became an artist.
Yes. So not only did he push his friend into rocks, he calmly ate a bowl of cherries while watching his friend's mother carry out bowls of blood from
what?
From tending to her son.
So he didn't die?
No. It was...
And they're like, hey, Salvador, why don't you just come hang out the house while I tend to my kid you pushed?
I'm assuming that, like, mom found him and then Salvador was like, it was an accident or whatever, and then ate a whole bowl of cherries while he was watching his friend's blood get carried out or whatever. Totally calm. Not worried at all.
He's crazy.
He also enjoyed throwing himself down the stairs for fun.
Hey, Salvi, what you doing?
Saying, the pain was insignificant, the pleasure was immense.
I'm glad that most people don't know this about Salvador Dali.
I think this is the fun part. So, those moments stayed with him for life. Some of the imagery showed up in his paintings, the bowl of cherries, crutches. He also was good friends with Sigmund Freud, of course. And...
So he's perverted and a sadist.
Yeah.
And he's friends with Sigmund Freud.
Oh, yeah. So there's also imagery of teeth, which is a sexual thing, according to Freud, and phallic symbols as well, which is Freudian.
Snake.
And a bat. So I didn't write this story down, but it stuck with me. An injured bat flew into the washroom of
Is this Ozzy
Dali's
round
house.
2?
Yes. No, it's like Ozzy before Ozzy was born. I'm not even kidding, Allie. So this bat dies. He comes back to check on it, and it's covered in ants. And he bites it. So yeah.
I was kidding, and you were for real.
I was for real, bro. He bit the dead bat just like Ozzy did. He knew it was dead, though.
But it's also covered in ants.
I guess he wanted to see what it felt like.
I mean, did he just kind of hit it a couple times on the washer?
No.
To knock the ants off?
I'm pretty sure he just picked it up. This guy was whacked.
I wish we knew how old he was.
He also used to stand on his head until he hallucinated. I think that might be where he got some of his ideas from.
It's
all
like
that blood rushing to your head.
Do you remember in high school when people would like push on each other's chests really hard?
Yeah.
And they'd like pass
breathe.
out.
They would like hyperventilate and then you push on their chest and they get knocked out. Yeah.
That's crazy. Like this.
I've only seen that happen once, and I was like, yeah, this is dumb.
Yeah.
So
definitely not something that we were interested in.
So that was like his early childhood from 1904 to 1922 when he started art school at Academia de San Fernando in Madrid.
So 2022, that makes him what, 18?
Yes.
Okay.
He was still very attention-seeking, wore long hair, crazy sideburns, crazy clothes.
So he was just an artist.
People describe him as being eccentric for the sake of being eccentric.
So it wasn't for him. It was for everyone else.
Yes.
Okay.
He wanted people to look at him.
Maybe that's why I have a mullet.
He was really interested in Cubism and was friends with Picasso. And we'll do an episode on Picasso, too.
Yeah, I actually want to talk to you after this about something crazy I read about Picasso.
Yeah, he's the total scumbag. Anyway.
He's also just kind